You know what? I feel like one of the reasons why some women want money is because of that consequence that women can endure.
Yes.
There's a risk, like she said.
Yes.
We can have sex, but I would be the one getting pregnant. There's more consequence for women.
Every
That
time.
is why for women, we also get satisfied if you bring money and to support that.
Yeah.
So it's not only in the bedroom, it's what's done outside of the bedroom as well.
It's more actually.
I mean,
for a woman, it is.
Yeah, like I can literally get horny if you have bought me dinner and bought me flowers.
You want to make me come? Pay my rent, pay my bills.
That nothing makes me more in the mood to give you a
for
hug
that.
than you taking care of me. Treat me like a big ass baby, and I will be so ready to like hug and kiss and be around you. Like I gave a guy a whole conversation for an hour the other day because they bought me like dinner, and I was like, I think I might like him now.
Think of how many women are struggling.
He's treating me right. I think I might like him now. If he's watching, thank you.
Think of how many women are struggling in their relationship right now, and they're so exhausted, so tired, so overworked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then like all you can hear the guy say is, "Look, she doesn't want to have sex anymore. She doesn't want to do this. She doesn't want to do that." Like, duh, because you're broke ass. Like, why would she even be turned? Why would she even? Oh, sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that. Why would she even be turned on at that point?
Yeah. Bring some flowers home. It's a real quick fix.
wait, Nick, let me control the center zoom. Okay, you can go here, but let me do the center zoom. So. Okay, hold on. There's a lot there. So okay, you're saying that women today they're overworked, they're tired, they're taking care of the house.
Freaking exhausted.
We take care of
They
ourselves.
don't have time
we used to live at
for-
home, and then our parents would find us someone. There'd be a dowry, okay, and then we'd be sent off to live with him. Now we have to do
are
it
you
ourselves.
saying,
I don't get a dowry.
So should we go back to patriarchy?
I'm not saying we should
Let's
go back to
go.
anything. We live in a
Let's
patriarchy.
go. We
already
Excuse
live
me,
in a
respectfully,
patriarchy.
we still
Patriarchy
live in a
never left.
patriarchy.
Patriarchy never
Let's not
left.
take it away from right now. We definitely still live in a patriarchy.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. I had that same
Disavow?
conversation with someone in the sauna. It's ridiculous.
I don't think.
Dude,
I
go
don't
to
think
social
there is a
studies in
patriarchy.
any public school in the country. We definitely live in a patriarchal society.
Wait, go to social studies.
That's where they taught us
you
that we
mean
lived in a
college?
patriarchal society. That's
Yeah,
what they taught
but
us.
where's the proof?
The fact that men make more money than women in any job that they get is just the same. That's not
It's
false.
false. It's
That's
false.
not
That's
false.
pretty
I literally
false.
work in acting where the men make more money doing the same job that I do when they make it to a certain level. Absolutely.
Well, okay, now
Did
we're
they
getting
make
into
that
There's
a
different
Oh.
factors.
but that's just a
than
fact.
gender.
You can walk around with your shirt off. I've got to wear a bra.
I know.
Yeah,
I wanna-
that is
unsexualized.
actually on that thing. I think. Well, okay, we're hitting on a lot of points here. The wage gap. The wage
that has
gap's
to do
been
with it.
debunked. When it comes to the shirt thing, that is actually the only right that I can think of that
We don't
men have
sexualize.
over women.
We don't sexualize men the same way that men sexualize women. You
we
can walk by.
we demonize male sexuality.
I mean, you can say you can walk by a group of women and they're not going to be like, "Hey, baby, oh, look at you, take your shirt off." The chances of us doing that.
Actually,
I mean, I'm
That's
sorry.
happened to you?
I'm sorry for
Shakespeare
Albuquerque
catcalling.
10 or where were you from? Alabama 10.
Tuscaloosa,
That's probably hard for
Alabama.
you. But generally, men can walk by a group of women without those women catcalling them when that's not something that we necessarily have. Or feeling safe walking to our car. I'm pretty sure you do. Where I have to bring some sort of like spray, something. We have to protect ourselves. We have to think about going to your house. Are we going to be okay? Like those are things that you don't have to think about, which shows us.
but
that
the
it's a
way
patriarchal society.
you feel, just because you feel unsafe as a woman doesn't mean that you actually are unsafe. The reality is, if you look at crime statistics, men are more likely to be victims of violent crime.
But by
So when
other
it's-
men.
That's
my
kinda-
point.
Well, that's victim blaming.
Okay.
But that's not victim blaming. If
It
you
is,
look-
because what does the gender of the perpetrator have to do with what you're still victimized regardless of the gender of the perpetrator?
I'll be right back.
Okay,
She's gonna be right back.
just go that way if you can.
So men are creating. So at the end of the day, the fact that we can't we have less upper body strength and we're made differently. Us being able to protect ourselves against those predators is different than you being able to protect yourself against your predator. So the fact of you being scared to walk to your car in the middle of the night is just going to be different because you know if someone comes up to you, even if you might still be victimized by a man, the fact of you getting hurt or being able to scare them off is a higher chance percentage than it is for me.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, like,
That's not about sure. It's not sure or not sure. A man's going to look at you and me. I promise you he's going to choose me to try to overcome than you.
well, I mean, I'm not trying to make a comparison here, but like you might be more physically imposing than I am.
I promise you I can probably run faster than you, but at the end of the day, he's going to.
I don't know about the running part, but.
I might.
Okay, all right.
But what I'm saying.
Should we do a race after the show?
I mean, I can do a nice jog, yeah.
Do a little run?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what my point is that there, I mean, you can argue the opposite side. What is it called? Devil's advocate. But at the end of the day, a man's going to come after her before he's going to come after her. And that's just the rule. They're going to come after you. They're coming after me before they come after you because you provide a little bit of threat. Me, I don't provide a lot of threat.
I feel like if you look vulnerable.
Let me respond. I actually disagree because there's actually a thing where even among, like, okay, take criminals, for example, the people that would victimize you. Don't get me wrong, like when it comes to mugging, like for some people who would be inclined to mug somebody, the gender of the person might not be a factor. But there is certainly a thing when it comes to criminals, for example, like you look at prisons, right? Look at jails. Who are the most reviled people in prisons and jails? People who tend to target people that are deemed as weaker, let's say. So men who abuse women and men who abuse child are going to be victims in a prison setting. But a guy who beats on another man is not going to be, there's not a stigma attached to a man who beats on another man. But as a man, if you beat on a woman, then you're going to get, well, also in a public setting, let's say you and me are in like a bar type environment, like a nightlife type environment where there's a lot of people around. If a guy starts whooping on me, nobody's going to intervene on my behalf. But most women, if a guy starts whooping on a woman, other totally random stranger men will intervene on that woman's behalf and white knight basically and protect her. Free bodyguards. So women have free bodyguards.
I mean, you can say that, but that's like a hearsay, right? Because I've literally physically seen a man beating on a woman and people just standing on. I was the only person to stand up and do something. So I feel like the what ifs about a bar and that sort of thing is a little bit difficult. But the fact that you're saying that a man in jail will then be victimized in jail because he decided to pick on the weaker race, you're already proving my point. That was the weaker thing to go after, which is why he's now victimized in jail, because he decided to go after something that he knew could not stand up against him. Not you, but me. And that's the reason why he then in jail is looked down on, because it's like, you should have gone against a man because that would have been fair. And the fact that you went against something that's weaker means that you're a piece of shit.
Right, but there's this concept like that, okay, men are taught should never hit a woman, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And that's going to provide you certain privileges. Like, for example, if I walk up to a guy and I just, let's say it's a bar, nightclub type environment, and I call him a bitch, I might get fucking slapped. But like women, you have a lot more leeway. Like you're going to have to antagonize a guy significantly for him to get violent with you.
I don't feel like that. I mean, it just depends. I think it depends on who you're around and where.
Well,
you're
obviously it depends on the guy, but
yeah.
But I would say also, look, you mentioned this scenario where there was a woman who's getting beat on by a guy, and there's a concept of a bystander effect.
Yeah, it was
certainly
that.
For both men and women. When you're witness to something, there's a bystander effect. But I would say I've seen like a lot of situations where if a guy like were to put his hands on a girl and there's a crowd, like there's people around, there's a lot of guys that are going to intervene and they're going to fuck that guy up. They're going to fucking curb. Right, but so
that's why it's a patriarchal society. They see already that they have the hierarchy and they're trying to save something that's weaker.
I feel
that's a benefit, though. You have free bodyguards.
You can say it's a benefit, but it's due to the patriarchy.
Well, there is no patriarchy. I reject this idea that there's a patriarchy.
I think there's two factors
Disavow.
here. Is the culture, right? Like men are supposed to protect women, and what men can fight within each other. And the other thing too is also like biology, like the physique of someone, like.
We actually have videos on
because
this.
Here's the thing: when if a girl is scrapping with another girl, whatever. If a guy's fighting with another guy, whatever. But if it's a man laying hands on a woman, they're attacking the man, right? Or if it's a woman slapping the man, they're like, okay, good girl, like he deserved it. So
I don't think anybody should
I
be
feel
violent.
like exactly. So I feel like it's those two factors. Is usually women are more vulnerable. And here's what I have to say, like. That's why us as women, we need to have wisdom and be like, what can I do? And you kind of talked about it. You have stuff, right? You have your tools. Some women carry which I think is great. And some women get like self-defense classes, martial arts. Like you need to equip yourself and stop like putting yourself and making yourself very vulnerable, and that's empowering. So
well, just we're kind of getting a little bit away from dating, but just on the whole like violence thing. Nick, if you can pull up in the Dropbox podcast videos folder, there's 2 videos I want to react to very, very quick. If you can get those going for us. Let me know when you're in the folder and I'll tell you which one it is. There's 2 of them. And this is really just to kind of articulate the point that, again, it's not a guarantee that if a man is beating on a woman, other men will intervene, but it's like a very common phenomenon